We have an incredible forum set up for today. We've got some great presenters, and we're going to have a great discussion. So I want to let you know we're going to record today's forum, so we'll set the recording. And this recording will be available on our website by the end of the week, or possibly early next week. And that's so that anyone who wanted to attend or wanted to hear these stories but wasn't able to attend this afternoon is able to go to Fourth Tuesday Forums on our website and hear these incredible stories. We have several presenters today, so we're going to hold questions until the end. For those of you who would like to ask your question using the chat feature, that's that little thought bubble, you can ask your question at any time during the presentation, and then after the presenters have finished, we'll turn it over to the question and answer portion. And we will also have anybody who wants to ask their question can just at that point click on that raise hand features, and we'll take your questions in that way too. I want to share a little bit of information before we get into today's presentation. We have some exciting open houses that are going to be taking place over the next couple months. These are featuring our respite homes. We'll have tours of our respite homes and feature assistive technology demonstrations. And so that schedule is on the screen, and we will also drop it into the chat. But we will have these open houses in each of the regions. North region will be hosting in December, on December 18th at our Windsor Family Respite Center. South region will be hosting in January, on January 15th at the Middletown Family Respite Center. And West region will be hosting in February at the White Plains Family Respite Center. I cannot speak highly enough of the respite centers in general. They do amazing work and provide a great service. But over the last 2 years, we have worked to equip all of our respite centers as smart homes. And so there's tons of assistive technology that are available in our respite centers, and we're starting to host these demonstrations so that people can come, see what the respite centers have to offer, and see the technology that's available. All right, without further ado, I would like to turn it over to Gunnar Abrahamson and Sarah Oluminick, who are going to talk a little bit about ARPA and the role of the STEP transformation plans and how those plans have evolved into some of the stories you'll hear today. So welcome.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gunnar Abrahamson. I'm an ARPA project coordinator for Connecticut Developmental Services. So before we get into some of the specifics, I want to provide you with a little bit of background. I truly believe our department finds itself at somewhat of a crossroads. Now, before we get into the why, let's take a moment to rewind to midway through the 20th century, right? I want to take a minute to focus on a couple of specific decades, right? Let's look at the 1940s and 1950s. Now, I think if you were around at the time, what you would have heard was this generalization from your average American that individuals with intellectual disability, regardless of level of need, were unable to live or work independently in their communities of choice because of that disability. And therefore, you would have heard this argument be made that institutional type care was something done out of necessity. Now, what we all saw as we progressed through the latter half of the 20th century, right, as we moved through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and beyond, was a complete rejection of that original notion, right? I think everyone recognized it was not the individual who was self-limiting. It was the institution and the systems that we had designed that placed limits on that person. And so what we saw over time was a shift away from institutional type care and the implementation of what we deem to be progressive community-based supports, things like day support options and group homes. Now, you heard me say at the beginning of my kind of little spiel here that I believe our department is at a crossroads. Well, what do I mean by that? What I mean is that Connecticut Developmental Services, we recognize that classic congregate settings like group homes and day support options are not going anywhere, right? They remain viable supports for hundreds, if not thousands of individuals who seek services through our department, and will remain viable options for those folks both now and likely well into the future. What we are seeing, though, is an increasingly robust conversation occurring around some of the more progressive support options that are offered by the department. Things like supportive housing, self-direction, assistive technology, remote supports, and customized employment. Support options that offer the most autonomy, the most individual choice, and the most dignity of risk for the person. So what my colleague Sarah Olominick and I are here to talk to you about today is not only how our department is building on and contributing to that important work in that conversation, but how we're expanding and implementing those progressive community-based support options throughout Connecticut. Now, to do this, we're going to focus on one particular initiative that should help capture that transformational change, help capture that conversation and that work very well. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. We stood it up a little over 2 years ago, and it's known as the Supporting Transformation to Empower People Initiative, and it's commonly referred to as STEP. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and what you're going to see is a graphic that is representative of the 3 core concepts or the 3 pillars that represent the focus points of this initiative. Now, the first and arguably most important component to STEP, it's highlighted on the left-hand side of that graphic in blue, and it's supporting transitions to community-based support options. Now, our department has done a lot of work over the years coordinating with different stakeholders, whether it be individuals, providers, family members, guardians, or that assigned case manager, to identify those folks who are living or participating in classic congregate settings like group homes or day support options, who have expressed interest in living or working more independently in their communities. The foundation of this initiative is an effort to identify those folks and then support them before, during, and after that transitionary process to ensure that they can realize their goals of living or working more independently in their communities of choice. Now, the second pillar to this initiative, you'll see it in the center of that diagram there, that graphic. It's highlighted in black, and it focuses on highlighting progressive support options to individuals and families. Right? In order for individuals who want to live or work more independently in their communities of choice to understand their options, a responsibility falls on our department to be effectively communicating those supports and the availability of those supports to the folks who seek to utilize them. Now, we do this in a number of different ways, and I encourage you, if you're interested, go to ct.gov/step, and you can take a look at some of the communication materials that we developed over the years. Things like the STEP video series that helps to highlight some of the impact that these progressive supports have had on the individuals who have utilized them to live or work more independently in their communities. Along with each of the videos, we also have support one-pagers that in a family-friendly style really break down and provide a synopsis of each of the 7 progressive supports that we highlight through this initiative. So you just heard me say 7 progressive supports, and I'm sure you're wondering, okay, what were the progressive supports the department chose to highlight or spotlight, if you will, through this initiative? The 7 progressive supports are individualized home supports, IHS, community companion home, CCH, self-direction, supportive housing, assistive technology, remote supports, and customized employment. Now, the third and final piece to this initiative ties directly back into the beginning of the conversation I was having earlier, right? Where I said some of those classic congregate settings like group homes and day support options are here to stay. The third piece to this initiative focuses on encouraging providers to reimagine, restructure, and expand existing congregate settings to be more person-centered and meet the unique needs of the changing IDD population within our state. Now, over the past 3 years, we've seen restructuring take place in numerous ways. We've seen providers bring unique methods to the table. We've seen providers eliminate sub-minimum wage arrangements in existing group-supported employment settings and then move those individuals to competitive wages without compromising the integrity of the program. We've seen providers make physical modifications to group homes to support individuals with mobility issues. We've also seen providers bring on specialized medical and behavioral staff to support those with medical or behavioral complexities. So a lot of exciting work being done when it comes to some of those classic congregate settings. And there's a lot of exciting work happening when it comes to supporting individuals who are taking the next step to living or working more independently in their communities. Now, I said at the beginning of the presentation that our department has done a lot of work expanding those progressive support options within communities throughout our state, and that we were going to get into some of that detail. What I'm going to do at this point in time is pass it off to my colleague, Sarah Olem-Minnick, who's an ARPA planning manager with our department, who's going to touch on some of the specifics around that expansion. Sarah?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here. Today, I get to tell you two different stories. We're fortunate in that there's a lot of exciting work that's happened over the last couple of years that we could spend our time showcasing and talking about, but we really want to focus on these two stories because I think, to Gunner's point in that graphic that you saw earlier, that first pillar, supporting folks who want to move to more independent residential or day settings, that's really at the heart of everything we do. And we're going to hear some really exciting stories of folks who have made some life changes through STEP and how that's going. But this part of the presentation is going to focus on, at DDS, what are the things that we had to change to make our system more friendly for folks who wanted to make those kinds of transitions towards more independent living. So we're going to talk about one story of how DDS approached this within our residential settings, and then we're also going to talk about a story within our day options. So you can see some numbers on the slide right now. These are just a few of the highlights that we can say have happened since the beginning of STEP. We had 13 providers with approved residential STEP plans. And again, that's a mix of supporting folks to move towards more independent settings and also maybe making some changes to existing congregate residential settings to make them more person-centered and to promote independence. And then you'll see that two numbers here are specific to supportive housing, and that's really the story that I'm going to tell you today. So back in 2021, and we can go to the next slide, Gunnar, supportive housing, there was a lot of excitement around supportive housing as a service option, but we still had very few units open that were available to individuals that we support. And so when STEP was getting started, we knew as an agency that this was something that we wanted to focus on, that there was interest in expanding this as a service option. There were people interested in supportive housing units. We just didn't have the supply available. So we did some asking around, some conversations with stakeholders to identify what are some of our barriers that are getting in the way from opening more of these units. And it turned out that there are some different state agencies involved in supportive housing. You know, it's not only us, also the Department of Housing, other agencies that maybe contribute to an individual's benefit status, that can influence their eligibility. There was just a lot going on when you're trying to think about, well, am I, or is this person that I care about or that I support eligible to move into a supportive housing setting, and what would that look like? And it was hard for individuals and families to figure out. It was hard for providers to figure out. So there was that piece of it, is it was just a bit confusing in terms of process. The second piece was supportive housing is really exciting because it has this layer of independence and you have your own apartment, but it's also intentional in building those relationships with the community around you. But part of that, creating an independent housing unit within this housing development, means that the provider is sometimes working with a real estate developer from start to finish on creating an entirely new housing complex. And the timeline for a new housing complex to be built can take a really, really long time. And so because that was the way that we had set up supportive housing, it was taking a really long time to get new units available for folks. So as a department, we saw all these things were going on and we asked, well, what can we do about it? And so we took two big steps forward. First of all, we hired our wonderful supportive housing director, Elba Caraballo, who has really made it her focus to improve our coordination and communication. So making that process more transparent, working with providers, working with case managers, individuals and families to really understand how can you begin to access supportive housing as a service. And then we also opened up our definition and our funding opportunities for providers who wanted to open up supportive housing units without going through that whole process of working with a new real estate development. So they could identify an existing housing complex, and then we were able to offer some startup funds so that they could get those units ready to go and start offering supportive housing a lot more quickly. So we know that there's still a lot of interest and there's still a lot of unmet need for supportive housing, but we're really excited that we have over 60 available units now. That's almost 4 times as many as we had at the start of the program. And the rate at which new units are becoming available has also really gone up. So there's certainly still a lot of work here, and I think the department is committed to continuing to do that work. But we want to highlight that as part of STEP, we've seen a lot of progress, and I think you'll be excited by the stories that we'll get to hear later of folks who are again benefiting from that progress. So that's been our story for the residential side. We also want to share a success story within our day option side as well. On the day side, it's a little bit different. This isn't a story that we knew we were going to be telling at the start of STEP. This is something that we kind of found out along the way. You can go to the next slide here. So during the early stages of STEP, our wonderful employment and day services team was doing a lot of listening with different stakeholders, individuals and families in particular, but also case managers, providers, trying to identify, are there areas of unmet need that we could address through STEP that would really make a difference in how folks are spending their time and their day support hours. And there were 2 themes that came up of 2 groups that were struggling a bit, and where we felt we could do better in providing a day service. So the first group were folks who had been in a day, congregate day support for a long time, and were maybe interested in the idea of competitive employment and thought that that might be a good fit for them. But we're finding that that first step to a more employment-focused service was a little bit too big. They were missing that structure, they were missing that familiar environment, and just struggling to make that transition smoothly. And so the EDS team was able to design a new support service directly targeted at that particular unmet need. So it's still under group day, but it's focused on employment exploration. So foundational employment skills, basic workplace communication skills, understanding what a workplace feels like, what that looks like, all of those foundational skills that could support someone who wants to begin to explore competitive employment, but isn't quite ready to take a bigger step in that direction at this time. The second group of folks who was identified as having some unmet day support need were folks who were actually currently competitively employed, but were struggling for one reason or another in that employment. Maybe it was that they were having some trouble with certain social skills that are really key for being successful in that position, or maybe they were interested in moving into a different kind of competitive employment and weren't really sure how to get there from what they were doing now. And so the EDS team designed a service, again, to meet that need. And that's a really peer-focused group day support designed for people who are currently competitively employed. And it focuses on exactly that, on that skill development, on supporting folks to identify how they can progress in their employment journey, or how they can make changes to make that employment work the best that it can for them. So we're really excited that we were able, through STEP, to design 2 support options to help folks have more options available in supporting their daily life to look the way that they want it to. And the results are that 16 providers have already created plans to provide this service. It's still new, so we're still in the review process. Last I heard, we had 3 providers that had just recently become qualified to provide it, and we're expecting that number to rise here within the next few weeks pretty quickly. So we're really excited at the enthusiasm there, and we're excited that that's going to become an option that's available to folks very soon. So we're happy to be able to share some stories of success on both the residential and day side of things that we're doing within DDS. And we're even more excited that you're now going to get to hear directly from folks who have gone through STEP to make some changes in their lives, and to hear how that's going for them and whatever else they'd like to share with us. So I'll hand it back to the Deputy Commissioner.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Gunnar. It teed it up perfectly for the stories that we're about to hear. And so next I'd like to introduce Nancy from Arco Southington, who's going to join us with Ashley and Samantha. Hi there.
Can you guys see Ashley and Sam okay? You don't really need to see me, but are you able to hear me okay?
We're able to hear you and we're able to see Ashley and Samantha. And welcome back, Samantha. We're excited to hear how the last couple of months have gone. And Ashley, it's very nice to meet you. So Nancy, I'll turn it over to you and you can do more introductions.
All right, so since you guys already know Sam, I'm sure you're dying to hear an update. So I will let you just wait on the edge of your seat for that. And I would like to introduce Miss Ashley Lynn. She has moved in. So when did you move into your apartment? In April, right?
1st.
April 1st, you moved in.
Fool's Day.
On April Fool's Day, but she's not a fool because she is very good at keeping her apartment together. I'm not sure if she wants to give you a tour because she might not be prepared, but I'll leave that up to her if you want to show off your apartment or maybe show off a little spot of your living room so that you can show off how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
How?
I'll help you with that. But first, let's talk about some things that you have been working on and accomplishing since you've been in your own apartment. What do you like about being in your own apartment? You don't even have to read that. You could just tell me how you feel. Just tell me how you really feel.
I like it because I can relax and usually be independent and just relax, and I don't have to have any issues with people, really.
And you
But
like your,
usually the people that I've been like with staff, I just get aggravated and stuff. And now that I live on my own, I'm nice and peaceful. I could listen to music and stuff, and that helps me. And baking is my favorite thing.
yep, she's an excellent baker
And I do culinary.
Yep,
And
go
I
ahead.
passed
More.
my surf safe.
So, yep, she's achieved her serve safe
I
license
actually
in the
could show her.
kitchen.
After.
She might want to show it to you in a minute when we give you a little tour of her apartment. Some other things that Ashley has been working on is working on her finances or working towards a goal of her to be paying her bills independently.
We just started.
So
yesterday.
one step at a time, we're gaining the skills that we need. And in the meantime, you know, we're here for anything, any type of support that she may need in addition to, but she does very well on her own. She's very responsible. And I'm very proud of Miss Ashley.
I just learned how to do I'm learning how to do money from yesterday.
Yep.
I'm doing
Balance.
learning now money.
Yep, we're learning how to balance your checkbook
Yeah.
and balance your cash, right?
Mhm.
Make sure the numbers are numbering.
Frustrating, I don't like that.
It's
but
okay.
I'm learning how to do math.
But
Cash.
we're gonna do
Yeah.
that because you know it's gonna be another accomplishment. And then when
Yeah.
these lovely people ask you back in the next couple of months, you're gonna say,
I'm the
"Hey,
first one. And
guess what? I
my
learned
first
how to do
time.
this."
my first time.
Is there anything special that you want to share? Any advice you can give to someone that's working towards getting themselves in their own apartment? Any tips
Ooh.
for you? What do you think helped you the most in your transition? Was it the support that you had? Was it some of the activities that you did to learn? Was it your family, your guardian? What was your best support? Just everything, right?
Yeah.
Just having the help in general and
Yeah.
being able to make your own plans and pretty much, you know, be independent. So we're gonna do a little tour of Ashley's living room. I'm just gonna pick the camera up. You guys let me know if your view is okay.
Move the stuff out of the way now. That
So
I
that can we
actually
see-
move things.
See our living room. We
It's
have
a
a
little messy because I just got home and it kind of has
beautiful
a bit-
couch. She's got her furniture. Can you guys see this okay? Am I being a good camera woman?
We can see you're holding it nice and steady. It's beautiful, actually.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna.
And then we have the bath or the,
While you're knocking
now I'm
things
knocking
down.
things over. Oh gosh. Sorry, Ashley. I didn't make a mess, I promise. And then we have a nice bathroom. The bathroom wraps around into the master bedroom and it comes back around into the kitchen.
I did doing meds on my own.
Yep.
I do them by myself, especially the med. I just
And yep, and you're very good at doing the meds by yourself. She takes her own meds. She reaches out to the pharmacy when she needs her refill, so does Sam. And I assist with whatever else they might need, and we're doing pretty good over here. So if that's all, Ashley, I'm gonna give the floor to Sam because I know everybody wants to know. What have we been up to? We've been up to a lot, right?
Yeah.
We've been doing a lot. So the last time we were here, you had just started your laundry internship, right?
Yes.
And I think you told me yesterday that you're starting a new internship now,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So you went through the laundry. Now what's next for work?
Dietary.
Okay, so
Like what you're doing. Yeah.
So, Sam, she had some challenges in the laundry department. Do you want to talk a little bit about the challenges and like, you know,
Being on my feet too much and it was hurting my feet. I didn't like it. My back started to hurt. And then after that, I was gonna leave, but I didn't want to leave because I like the people there
and
and they support me.
you want to see it through so that you can get your
Hey,
dream job,
yeah.
right? What's your dream job again?
Working with animals.
So even though you weren't that happy, you know that the outcome is greater than the present. So that's why you decided to push through, and I'm so proud of you for that.
Thank you.
And even if you wanted to leave, we would have supported you either way. So on to dietary. When we start dietary?
January 2nd.
January 2nd. So we have one more month in laundry, and then we go to dietary. And what else have we been up to, Sam?
This Tuesday that passed, I went to try to get my driving license.
So,
I did good in the thing, but I flunked some of my tests.
so what we did was we went to Easter Seals for an assessment to see where Sam is at as far as getting her license. So our next step in our driving journey is to work on the skills, the cognitive skills that is needed to drive. And we're going to get Sam into the right programs and we're going to practice all the stuff that they assessed her on. And then we'll circle back with the assessment again when she's more prepared. And I'm very proud of her for that too, because
Thank
she
you.
wants to do the work to get it done.
Thank you.
And how's Princess?
She's doing good.
I thought you were bringing her down.
Is there anything else you'd like to share? Any advice?
I've been doing real good in my own apartment. I love it.
Did you put up your Christmas tree?
Yeah, I put up my Christmas tree.
Maybe
She
you could,
picked out her.
Sam, maybe you could describe, where is your apartment? You live next to Ashley?
Upstairs, apartment 13.
Ah, so you guys are neighbors.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So if there's nothing else to share, I guess I'll share how proud I am. And you know, it hasn't been a perfect ride. You know, we all face challenges just like anyone else does. But as I tell myself, I tell my girls here that some life is filled with challenges, and it's not based on the challenge that really matters, but the way you react to that challenge that shows true maturity and true independence. And you guys both have shown lots of independence and lots of
Ever
maturity.
since I moved in,
Right.
much calmer.
Right. And you needed to step out of that environment and have some alone time. And you guys have some assistive technology that helps out, right? Like you're not completely alone. You're not completely by yourself. You guys have me. And then we also started remote supports. So they both have a tablet that they can use and they can reach out to talk to anybody at any time. It can be 3 o'clock in the morning, it can be 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's always someone available to talk to them about anything they want. So I think with those supports, it really helps to combat the challenges. And yeah, I'm very proud of my girl. I don't have anything more to share unless anyone has any questions later. We'll be here to answer.
I'm seeing lots of positive feedback in the chat, and I'm tempted, but I'm going to hold my questions because this is exciting, and I know we're going to have some nice comments to share and some questions for both of you. So if you could hold on, and thank you.
You're welcome.
You gave us such exciting news. You both are doing great. It's great to see your apartment, Ashley, and Sam, it's great to hear how well you're doing. So hold on, because we're going to have questions at the end. And now I'm going to turn it over to Michelle. Are you with us, Michelle? And Michelle and April are going to share a little bit about April's new place. Welcome.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
We're good?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can see you.
So my name is Michelle. I work, I'm the Deputy Quality Assurance at the ARC, Eastern Connecticut. And this is my friend April. She is one of our people that moved out of our CLAs here at the ARC. So April's story, she was in a CLA for more than 10 years. She can't remember how long. You said when you were 18?
Yeah, 18 or 19.
Yeah. And how old are you now?
I'm 35.
Her cat is, she's like, I want to be part of it. So over, almost 15 years. But it was one of her goals to always move out and have her own place. So the opportunity presented when we had the remote supports pilot in 2022. Through the ARC and Midstate ARC, they helped us become, assistive technology vendors and get that started. So April was able to have this opportunity presented to her to be able to move into one of our supported living apartments here in New London. It was a long journey, right, April?
Yeah.
She was very excited. Throughout the program, she was able to have assistive technology installed in her CLA to practice. She worked throughout the years on her, independent living skills in CLA. You learned how to, she did her own medication. She ordered her own medication. You did your doctor's appointments on your own, learning how to budget and do some cooking while at the CLA to prep her for this moment. Throughout the transition, it was, we had a lot of meetings with the team. There was a lot of, she was hesitant. She was very nervous, very excited at the same time. A lot of it, she said what was you nervous about moving out?
Not like having staff and like, missing my friends.
You were nervous about leaving your friends at the house because you lived there for so long. And you were worried about being alone.
Yeah.
Because going from 24/7 with people to 24/7 by yourself, that's a big difference.
Yeah, but I'm loving it
now. And you were also excited about like picking out your own decorations, going shopping, saving up money, which was another stress too, is, you were scared that you wasn't going to have enough money to live by yourself.
Yeah.
So luckily with the supported living, she was able to be part of the RAP program. So her rent is subsidized. So she works and she also has the RAP voucher also. So her rent isn't as expensive as if she would be in a different apartment. The other stress was the changing of the move-in dates. It changed a lot, right? It was what?
Yeah.
November, and then it was December, and then it was January.
And then they said,
Uh,
and then they finally we only had like 2 weeks to move in.
Yeah, so it was very stressful for her and her other friends from the CLA, because it was so up in the air, which was out of our control because during COVID they were building the apartments and there was one piece missing for the electric. So it was very hard for us to have a set schedule when everybody was moving. So that was making the nervousness even more because you didn't know when you were moving.
Yeah.
You packed, then you unpacked, then you packed, and you unpacked. You're finally here.
Yeah.
She has her assistive tech here. She has a panic button, the motion sensors, a flood sensor, the panel here that is like a panic button also. But mainly she uses her phone to call anybody if she needs any help. I feel like at first when you first moved in, she wasn't sure how much freedom she had from going from in a group home where you had to say what you were doing all the time or where you were going all the time. So a lot of it, she would come in like, can I go here? Can I go visit somebody? It was a lot of like asking, or is this okay? And you needed a lot of reminders like,
Yeah.
you're independent. You do what you want. Like we're here to support you. So that was a big difference from like telling somebody what you're doing all the time to you don't have to tell us.
Yeah.
So she's more comfortable with that. And I think you said what makes you more comfortable is knowing that we have our office here to help if you need it. So we always have somebody here in the office throughout the week. So having somebody here in the office gives her more, security. Even though she's by herself, she loves it. But if she's a little lonely, she goes and visits us at the office. Another good thing about you moving here is making friends.
Yeah, I made a lot of friends.
And what the friends that moved here from ARC also, they have, what do you guys do every month? We'll try to do every month.
Do like a girl night.
They do girls' night with the other girls that live here at least once a month. So what's tomorrow? You guys are cooking together or just you and your staff?
Just me and my staff. We're gonna make like a little Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah.
And then we also have the community room, which she hosted her first birthday party there. We also, through the ARC, we do every month we do activities there it's open up to anybody that lives in these apartments. So it gives opportunity to meet everyone. I think the biggest one was the pumpkin carving, right?
Yeah.
There was other people there from that lived there. So she likes that also. What's the other thing you like about living here? What's your favorite part about it?
I get my own space.
Yeah.
And I can get a pet.
Yes, that was her other main goal was get your own place, and she wanted a cat. So we didn't want to do such a big transition. So with the support of the team, we were like, let's wait a little bit, get you comfortable, and let's save up. Let's look for the right. So she got her cat, which Mickey Mouse is the name.
Yeah.
And the other thing you like to do, she's gone on vacation.
Yeah.
She continues to work. We don't even, honestly, she does everything. Like she's doing amazing. And the other thing you like is how close you are to everything, right? So
Really close.
What's across the street?
ShopRite, PetSmart, and then I walk to Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah.
So it's convenient, where it's an area that she could just walk and she doesn't have to wait. And it's on the main bus line if you ever want to do like the buses. But she's definitely made a big transition, and it was a long way. There were tears, a lot of tears during the transition because she was very worried about if she was going to be able to do this and I'm going to be by myself, and you're doing really good. Really good. Is there anything else you want to tell? Well, no, that's it.
No.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I have a couple questions, and Sam and Ashley, if you want to come on too, I know others might have some. So April, how did you learn like how to get around when you said like, can I go here and can I go there? How did you learn the area and what was around and just how to get around your new neighborhood.
So, when I was in the group home, we used to, we drived over here. So I got used to it. And then me and my friend, we walked so we can get used to where, everything is.
That's awesome. And I've
I
been
think
over
that
there.
will
You
help
have
you.
a
Yeah,
lot of
I think it
stuff
helped her
around
get
you.
used to it because
Yeah.
her group home will bring her around because it took forever to build. So I think you
Yeah.
guys used to drive around and be like, look, it's almost done.
Yeah.
So that would make it familiar too for her to
That's
move.
that's a good tip as far as for other people that are preparing to move. That's a great way to get to know the area before you move so that you have a sense of what's around.
Sorry. No.
So Mickey Mouse, I think one of the
Yeah.
things that strikes me, and Princess for Sam is, one of the things I didn't expect was just how much pets are a part of, you know, moving into your new place. It can be
Yeah.
hard in a CLA to have a pet. It can be sometimes hard, but when you have
Yeah.
your own place, as long as your landlord allows it.
Yeah.
And so how
So
has that been? How did you pick Mickey Mouse and what's it like sharing your apartment with a pet?
it's nice. So I did ask for a cage animal. They don't want cage anymore. It's a dog or a cat. And my friends at work say get a cat because they're easier to take care of for your first pet. And then my friend, she found a pet for me online. So I got her for free, but I had to get her all her shots and everything, but she got all her shots and stuff.
And she budgeted, because here you had to do the pet, security deposit
And
and
there was-
pay extra.
Yeah,
So she had to budget that into, her funds to be able to have the cat.
yeah.
It looks like she's got a great personality. Was it love at first sight?
Yeah.
And how did she adjust to her new place?
She did good. The first night was hard, and then the second day she was fine. She was running around and everything.
That is awesome. That is
Yeah.
awesome. Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
So we do have some comments in the chat. And Ashley and Samantha, are you still there as well?
I'm here with Ashley. Sam just had to step out for a second. She's gonna come right back.
Okay,
She had someone visit her, but she should be back in a few minutes. If you have any questions for Ashley, she's here to answer them.
well,
And I'm
Ashley,
sorry, Sam had to step out.
that's
They're
okay.
coming soon.
There are, I don't
Oh,
know, Ashley, if you saw the comments in the chat, but when you were given that tour of your apartment, there were a lot of comments about what a beautiful apartment it is. Just a beautiful, beautiful apartment. And thank you for the tour. That was really nice of you to show your apartment so we can kind of see just how beautiful it is. And then there's a comment around, and this is for all of our presenters. Thank you for being willing to come and share your stories and keep advocating for yourselves. You're doing great.
Wait,
And
no,
it's
the Cersei.
it is so important when people are thinking like, geez, could I do this? Is this you know, is this something that I might be able to do? To hear directly from you how it went, that you were nervous, but that everything worked out beyond okay, really, really wonderful. It's important. It's important to hear directly. Let's see. 24 hours. That's awesome. And I can't remember what that in particular was in response to. Lorianne, do you want to come off mute and just say a little more?
Yeah, somebody was talking about that people could call 24 hours a day and get, either advice or assistance, and I just 7 days a week, and I just I really found that not remarkable, and must feel incredibly empowering to know that you've got somebody out there at any time.
That's a really good point. Have you, I wonder, has anyone had to kind of reach out in the middle of the night or early in the morning? Has there been a time where you've had to call?
We've had a lot of like
I already did it one time.
yeah, like an accident, like they'll hit the button on accident. But yeah, they're like one time, I think knowing that it's available, it gives the comfort of not panicking kind of thing. So or there's some, you know, not being able, you don't have to call emergency services for something you're just not too sure of, because you know everybody's taught to say if you're worried or something, you know, if you're not sure of something, call 911. But you don't need to call 911 for something that you don't know how many minutes to put this on the microwave, or I don't feel good, should I go to the hospital or should I go to the walk-in? Those are two, like it definitely saves the 911 calls, because we're able to answer those calls for them. So, and if we don't, like if we have somebody who hits the button and we don't respond in time, the 911 will pop up. So we always make sure that we're always available to answer the call and get in contact with them at least 15 minutes if somebody tries to reach us. So we could be like, oh, what's going on? They're like, oh, I don't feel good. So what should I do? So that having that support with them, it definitely saves hospital bills per se.
A lot of peace of mind.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And Ashley and Nancy, do you have anything to add as far as the backup systems? Have you had to make a call, or are there people available if you do have something? Is there are there people nearby that could come over if needed?
So, Ashley and Sam also, they both have a remote supports tablet. If, you know, they just feel like they need to talk to someone, or if they're not sure if an issue is an emergency, just like Michelle was saying, it's pretty much the same thing. Instead of calling 911, you know, they would call remote supports. And if remote support sees that it's an actual emergency, they'll call me. And we also have check-in calls set up so that they can check in with Sam and Ashley as well. Sam just missed her call because she was here with us, and I actually just had to step away and let them know that, yeah, Sam's fine, we're in a meeting. So they're very good and about communication, and then they send you like they send you a summary every 2 weeks so that you can see exactly what's being spoken about, how long they're on the phone for, how often they're utilizing it, and things along those nature. Of course, it's not something easy to just jump into, like especially with someone like Ashley, because Ashley's more reluctant to trust people. She doesn't want to tell, you know, random people personal things about herself. Ashley would rather reach out to someone she's more comfortable with. But little by little, we're getting comfortable with it. And as the challenges come up, we just, we face them and then we move on from them, right?
Yeah.
And we do good.
That makes a whole lot of sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. I can see where that would give peace of mind. So there's some more comments, just huge kudos. So happy for you. What an incredible story. So happy for you, April. Congratulations. Great work. Thank you for sharing your story. April, this was when you were speaking. Amazing job, April. And the ARC, and there's a question for you, April. It says, while you were so anxious and nervous about moving out to live alone, what helped you to keep going? What motivated you to keep going and achieve your goal of living alone? What do you tell yourself to say you can do this? What are some of the things you do to kind of work through those nerves and make it happen?
So my guardian and my friends told me to try it because we had like a 6-month plan. If we didn't feel like comfortable, then we could go back to the group home. But I tried it, and then when 6 months came up, I didn't want to go back to the group home. I wanted to stay.
You
Which is
know
part of the
what?
step plan.
When you said that, ooh,
Like, you go, girl.
you know,
I was just
I
gonna say it, but
forgot
she said
about
it.
that piece. That
Yep.
is part of the step plan, that if you
It
don't
was
like
that
it,
that we told her, like, we'll hold your bed. We'll hold it. We won't give it away. If you stay for 6 months, you want to go back, you'll go back. And we had a party when the 6 months, all of them celebrated. So yeah,
Yeah.
That 1 year's coming up.
yep, February.
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
that is
that's part of
awesome.
the segue to the step plan of that option to hold that, the incentive of having the bed, available if anything happens.
Yeah, you know what? We haven't talked about that recently, but we built that in just so people would know that, hey, there's a little safety net here. If if I don't like it, I can always have my backup plan, go back. And I don't think anybody has chosen to do that.
Mhm.
It seems like things fall into place.
Yep.
Ashley, I wonder the same question for you. When you were feeling nervous, were there things that you did or what was helpful so that you could kind of just push through the nervousness and say, I'm going to get there? And was there anything that was helpful to you?
Your support system?
Oh yeah, support system, but before the support system, I was like calling the people that I felt comfortable with, like Nancy sometimes, but she just basically started a while ago.
In August.
August, yes, but felt more comfortable talking to the manager and supervisors, but now that I have that, I still have to I actually did a good job and called one time from them at night because I was having a hard time sleeping, but yeah.
And were they, when you called, was it helpful?
Yes, they're nice.
Baby steps.
That is awesome. There
Sam
are
is
other,
back.
welcome back, Sam.
Thanks. Yeah.
There were lots of positive comments that I shared that people put in the chat, and about thanking you for sharing your story. But for you in particular, you had the two transitions happen at the same time, right? You not only moved into your own apartment, but you also are going through the project search. And so you had a lot of big new moves that happened in a close amount of time. Was there anything that you found helpful to kind of work through the nerves? If you started to feel nervous, that you found could help you to just kind of stay focused and say, I can do this? Oh, you're on mute, I think.
Sorry about that. Technical difficulty.
I will talk to my staff and my manager, Nancy,
Yeah,
and my dog.
it definitely helps to have a constant companion like it's Princess, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And Sam,
Um,
you get like scheduled calls from remote supports. Do you find that helpful?
No,
No,
because some of them, when they call, they're rude.
sometimes. Okay.
And sometimes there's some that's nice, but some of them are really rude. I just don't like talking to
You
them
just
when
don't
they're
like talking
rude.
to them when they're rude. Oh,
No.
well, I'll reach out to them about the rude people. Thank you for being honest about that. I appreciate that.
I agree. And so basically, they're calling in, just checking in, how are things going? Is everything okay? And it's a quick call?
Yeah, and like they'll ask if I have problems with my apartment, if I have hot water, anything that I need maintenance. Cause sometimes I will forget to tell my manager because
Uh-huh.
I'm so busy,
Mhm.
but that's why they're there.
And we always get busy and forget things, right?
Hmm.
You take one day at a time.
So there's more comments that are coming in. All of you are very inspiring and show how hard work and planning pay off. Thank you for sharing your stories. I love the fact that this has worked for all of you. It sounds amazing. This one I love. Oh my goodness, amazing. Very proud of you. So inspiring. The word amazing is coming up a lot. You are all amazing. Thank you for sharing your stories. Here's a question. What's the best thing about living on your own compared to living in a group home?
I'll go first.
More freedom.
More freedom.
Yeah.
April, you're not in your
More
head too,
freedom
huh?
and no roommates.
No roommates. So you have people nearby, but you have your place to yourself, huh?
Yep. And if I don't want nobody there, I can say you could go home.
Sounds very empowering. In April, same for you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And it's one of her roommates from the CLA is actually someone who has an apartment with us too. So
So
it kind of works out. They still see each other, but they have their own place. So you know,
kind of the
they're
best of
Yep.
both worlds. You still have the
Yeah.
friendships, but you have your own
Yeah.
space.
Mhm.
And I
Nice.
get to see my boyfriend more.
And that's really nice. Now,
Yeah.
does your boyfriend live in the area?
Kind of, yeah. He drives, so he can come here and spend the night and stuff.
That's nice. And that's
Yeah.
hard when you have roommates. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And the group home wouldn't let him sleep over.
Wow, that's a big difference as far as
Yeah.
just having a little bit more privacy. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. There are some other comments. Let's see. Thank you all for sharing your stories. And this one I love. Danielle says, you are trailblazers. You all rock. What you're doing, what you have done, has kind of paved the way for other people to do something similar. So I want to thank everyone for sharing your stories and opening up a little bit of your lives to us. And I think you guys are doing great. We do have one hand that just came up, so we have a question. Beal, is that the
Hi.
name?
Yes.
Hi.
I just wanted to share some information for Sam or anyone else who's interested in learning how to drive. My daughter, we went through quite a bit of a struggle because the school system usually just teaches you the bus system. And she was bound and determined to drive a car. And we did hit many obstacles, including with Easter seals, who actually discouraged her from continuing in that direction. But we were undeterred and we kept going. And something, Deputy Commissioner, that I wish you could look into. I had to search the state for this, but did find that Sacred Heart University has a driving simulator, which is one of a kind in the state. And what it does is it allows the individual to get behind a car. You're actually in a room in a car with a 360 screen around you that gives you a complete simulation of being on the road. So it allows individuals to test this out in a very safe setting. And it's through the OT department at Sacred Heart University, and it's free of charge. And they will put you through like a 6 to 8 week program teaching you how, what are the rules of the road, how to deal with various encounters on the road, and basically how to drive. And she went through that program, and we then followed it up with driving instruction, and she now has her license.
That is fantastic. We definitely will look into that. And it's free
Absolutely.
to members of the community as well.
Yes, it's free
Yes.
through their OT department. And the professor's name is Shigela.
if you could, if you have the professor's name that you can drop in the chat, that would be really helpful. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you.
Let's see, we have Patricia.
I believe UConn has one too. I will look into that. I know they did it at a time. I just want to make sure they still have it, and I'll provide you guys with that information.
That would be great if they're available in different parts of the state. So we definitely will look into that. All right. I think that's what we have for questions. Let me make sure there's nothing else in the chat. And thank you. We have the link to the simulator as well. Thank you, Adriana. You're always there with the resources. I appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great afternoon. Again, this has been recorded, so it'll be available online if you want to share it with friends or family who might not have been able to join us today. And I want to thank each of our presenters just for the amazing, inspiring presentations and for helping us to continue to think about what is possible. So have a great afternoon, everyone.